Give me a D and a G. It's the Dunga Show. It's the Dunga Show.
Hey, dog, your beard's looking flickin' great, my man.
Thanks, Gus. I've been using the Bush Beard Wash.
The what now?
At Bush Beard, they know that every man with a beard is a unique beardo. And that's why they offer a wide range of products to cater to every beard's needs. Whether you have a long and luscious mane or prefer to keep it short and sharp, their products will help you achieve that perfect look.
From the nourishing beard oil and balm to the refreshing beard wash, their products are made with all-natural local ingredients to keep that beard healthy, soft, and lustrous. The beard comb and brush are designed to detangle and shape your beard, making sure you always look your best.
At Bush Beard, they're dedicated to providing the best possible grooming experience for all the beardos out there. So why settle for an average beard when you can have a glorious, well-groomed one? Try Bush Beard products today and unleash the full potential of your beard.
Be sure to use Dog and Gus 10 and get 10% off your order.
Bush Beard, the small town brand with the big old Canadian heart. Welcome to the Dog and Gus Show.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Who we got going on today?
We got one half of the damn truth on today.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much. What's going on?
We're very good. Thanks for having us.
No worries.
Happy to be here.
Yes, yes. Let's talk. I'm going to jump right into it because actually this is the last question I had, but I have to ask it first now. I need to know where the glasses came from, and was it Prince related? Because one of his album covers has got those glasses on it. She's
totally, man. It was one of those freak emails where the story is that this company had made the glasses for Prince, and he bought the rights. He wanted one of a kind, no one else to have them until the day he passes, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And when he did, the company had got the rights back, and they were able to offer it up to artists. And out of the blue, I get a call or an email saying, "Hey, we think, would you dig the glasses? You know, would you wear them?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah! Are you kidding me?" Send them over. And so yeah, that's pretty. I've been wearing them ever since. They sent me 2 pairs. There's this one, and there's a green pair. The green pair got really scratched up, so I'm staying with the blues for now.
Very cool.
Yeah, they're very nice. Very cool. Very different. Definitely bringing out the third eye, correct?
That's the plan.
Yeah, nice. So did you guys all meet in Montreal and sort of form there, or is there a story behind that?
Oh, there's plenty of stories.
Give us some, please.
Okay. Lila and I met at a hippie festival, and everybody was naked at that festival. And at some point, I was walking down. It was on a riverbed, and I was just walking down the festival grounds and whatever. And I hear this beautiful voice singing "Almost Cut My Hair" by CSNY, and I just loved that song. I sat down next to her, and I had my guitar with me, like an acoustic guitar, and we jammed and jammed and jammed. And I don't know, I thought there was something really special about that moment, those few hours that we just played music together outdoors in the nude. And I guess she felt the same way because
here we are many years later, still doing the same thing.
Yeah, but with clothes on.
A few more clothes on, exactly, right now.
Right now.
But just
right now.
wearing any pants. Right?
Yeah.
That's interesting because that would be like almost just purely art. It really is art, right? Like you're bearing everything. Well,
there's no pretense involved, right? Like this is you.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that must have been such an interesting introduction / first jam together.
Yeah,
That would have been,
it was perfect, man. You can't make this shit up.
I know, that's totally so rock and roll. Like it's such a rock and roll story.
It's such 60s rock and roll.
Yeah, it's perfect for a hippie festival. It just makes sense, right? When you working with Bob Rock, maybe you could swing it to that. Was that an interesting experience as well? With that kind of experience from him?
Oh my god, yeah. The guy is like I don't know. He just oozes vibe and oh my god, music, and he's the nicest man. He's the nicest Canadian dude you can imagine. He He brings so much expertise, but it's wrapped up in this beautiful, human persona. Like, he's just, I don't know, like everything about him. We were so lucky. We got to work with him twice. So far, we've worked with him on our 5 songs off the last album, and then we got to do this full album with him. And that first introduction was supposed to be a full album, but then COVID hit and we could only do half. But the first introduction was just 4 days in Vancouver at the warehouse. That's the studio he works out of in Canada. And it was like a whirlwind, and it was incredible. And we felt it was so great, and we were so happy with the results and with whatever came of that we were just like, oh my God, we only hope that we made as good as an impression that he'd want to work with us again. And we're very, very lucky that he did. That he liked the next bunch of demos that we sent his way. And
I think the thing about Bob these days is that, obviously he already proven himself. He has nothing, he doesn't have to do anything that he doesn't want to. And I think that gave us a lot of confidence that he basically chose us. We sent a bunch of demos, listened to them with a mutual friend, and he gave us the confidence. He was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I want to do this. It's like we connected on a musical level, not just a human level, whatever. It's like, he likes the same kind of stuff that we do. We comes from the same place. What's important for him musically is what's important for us musically. The way he records the band, everybody's playing in the same room together. That's the kind of stuff that we love. That's kind of stuff that we've done always in every record that we ever recorded. So to do it with Bob and his expertise, and obviously you don't just become the greatest producer in the world by nothing. He's super talented. He has the best ears of any human that I've ever met. And he's a walking encyclopedia of music too. Like, it's like you can't get anything by him. Like, if I had a song that had like a little bit of, I don't know, Jefferson Airplane, like influence in like one of the verses, like, oh, I see what you're doing there. Right. I know that. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But it's great. He's like, he's just one of us. He's just a good Canadian dude.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question going on with that, because I read a little bit. When he told you guys about Only Love, like changing the speed of that song for you guys. Now, right. In your head, are you thinking, my God, this is Bob Rock. Should we listen to what he's saying because he's Bob Rock or because he's making sense?
Well, I think, with Bob, it's like, of course, there's a few facets, right? Of course, yes, it's Bob. And first of all, we're there to try out everything he's going to throw at us, because we've chosen to work with him, and we do trust and want to hear exactly what he has to say. We're not there to like say, this is it. This is what we're doing. We don't, we're not there to just do that. I mean, if we want to do that, we'd stay home,
If you get the opportunity to work with somebody like Bob Rock and he throws, a suggestion at you, and all you want to do is fight and say, no, this is the way I want it. It's like, maybe you shouldn't work with somebody like Bob Rock. Exactly. That's his greatness, And sometimes you're too attached to a demo or like a song the way you've had it before. But we're not like that. We wanted to experiment. We wanted to try out different things. And there's one thing in the studio where really the speakers, they never lie. You can hear right away if something is shit or if something is really good, And when we tried to speed up the song and we came into the control and listened back, it's kind of like unanimous, fuck yeah, man, this is so much better than what we had before,
Yeah, exactly. There was no like reason to
oh, here he is.
There he is.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, PY?
Not much. Just internet died right before this meeting, so I'm on the cellular phone.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. They just finished talking shit about you. So
yeah, it was perfect
timing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we were talking about your experience with Bob Rock, actually. And would you say that you had a great experience as well?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to work with somebody that's got that much experience and so many stories, and it just is very motivating and keeps the fire under your ass, as they say around here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a good saying.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Yeah. Who inspired you guys to like, where does your inspiration come from for music?
Well, I think we all come from a bit of a different place, but unanimously, I mean, it's rock and roll that holds us all together. Like the core, like 60s and 70s rock. I mean, we all come from a place that's a bit different. Like for me, it was my dad's Beatles albums, A to Z. Like that's what threw me into rock and roll, and then discovering like the musical Hair and everything that went with that, counterculture, and of course the Woodstock quadruple album that my dad passed on. So that's like it opened my mind to 60s and 70s straight up, and I fell in love with that. And then I think we all brought our own sort of taste to it, to the table, of course. But there's a lot of 60s and 70s rock inspired music in this band, that's for sure.
I think the thing that I gravitated towards the most when I was younger was that when I listened back, what Lila said, like to the Beatles collection or even Zeppelin, a lot of people say about Black Sabbath and Zeppelin, whatever, that's kind of music that I love, that it's like, hard hitting, classic rock, whatever. But if you really like take the time and listen to the records, it's very diverse, and there's acoustic songs in there and there's world influences. And I always kind of imagined, or in my mind, like rock and roll was this kind of all-inclusive thing. It wasn't just like, okay, Marshall's at 10 and like fucking
bashing the drums.
Go for it,
Right.
So that's what I really love about rock and roll. I think that's what we also try to kind of do in this band.
And the fact that there's things to say, there's like social commentary and there's like important and poetry and like, it's there's so many facets to rock that, that draws me in, that I like to compose that way.
Possibly the fashion as well.
Possibly,
Sure.
yeah.
Maybe just a little.
Yeah. Yeah, the fashion is good.
Big time.
What's your favorite Zeppelin album?
Who are you asking?
Whoever.
Anybody.
You got all of you
I'll
separately.
say one for me.
One, yeah. One. P
I
was
mean,
one.
we all kind of like bonded with Bob Rock over Led Zeppelin 1, because just before he stepped into the studio with us, he was sitting in the car with Richie Sambora, and they were listening to Zeppelin 1 from beginning to end to get like pumped for the Damn Truth sessions. And but I like 1, 2. I like 1, I like 2 and 4. Those are my 3 favorites. 1, 2, and 4.
I've really been getting into physical graffiti.
That's a great.
Yeah, we listened to that last week before our podcast.
Yeah, because it's such a funky album. Like you don't think of it as, you know what I mean? It's not like, it's sort of different for them. But I mean, I'm a huge Zeppelin fan. So my mom saw Zeppelin, by the way, just so we could throw that out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Got that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She missed the bus to go to Woodstock, but she was gonna go in '69 to Woodstock. So
Yeah, my dad was on the way. He was stuck in the traffic and ended up turning around. Yeah.
Imagine, because it was just so crazy that Woodstock, New York, would have that kind of.
But then you have to live with like, you
turned around.
You turned around and you didn't make it to Woodstock.
Yeah,
seriously,
it's
for the
true.
rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's true.
And his little brother did.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, somebody would never let them live that down if they went. If they went. Yeah. I haven't. I mean, she's seen Zeppelin and Elvis and like a bunch of crazy things because she was of that age, right? So, you could go see Zeppelin for $5 or something. And
well, I could have went to Woodstock, but I was only 5.
well,
Right.
Well, you could have went in '99. Although it wouldn't have been,
No,
wouldn't
thanks.
have been-
Not the same. Just not the same.
The 94 one looked pretty cool though.
Yes. Yeah, 94 was way better than 99 because 99 they just destroyed the place and then there was a lot of other stuff. But 94 was more peaceful. You were there?
Yeah, I wonder if
No, he wasn't there.
bring the kid. Like, I wonder if back then festivals like today, you always see the kid on somebody's shoulders with that earmuffs and they're like rocking out. Was it kid friendly back then? I feel like no.
Probably not.
69, you mean?
I'm thinking
Yeah.
not.
No.
He said,
Well, I think a lot of kids were
conceived there.
Oh, definitely. Yes, big time.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing. It was pre-love.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. You think about that time, it was just amazing for music altogether. Really.
Dad, why is my name Hendrix? Because, son, you were conceived during Jimi Hendrix's set. That's
Yeah,
why.
exactly. He's Star Spangled Banner, and then
there we go.
there was the banner.
That
You know
was
what I
it.
mean?
Rockets Red Clare.
If you could change anything about the industry, like, I mean, you guys have a massive social media presence, and that's great for you guys. Obviously, it's an important part. But if you could change anything, what would it be?
Can I say something
Oh,
about
so you
that?
can speak.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
please.
Um, there's a quote. It's not a quote. It's an interview that Frank Zappa did in the '70s, and it's really interesting because he's talking about hip young guys that are taking over the A&R department in record labels, and how much better off they were back then, the artists, when there was the fat guy with the cigar. He didn't know anything about music and just let the artists be artists. There was just better music back then because it didn't interfere with the art, you know. And I feel like today, you know, it's like we got to a point where it's like you got good 10 seconds on TikTok and you get the big fucking record deal, and then they dump you too, like after that TikTok fad is over, you know. And if there's one thing that like I'd love to bring back is, you know, is like just music labels basically signing artists, you know, people to invest in, to make a bunch of records, to make good art, even if it's not my kind of music, you know, even if it's whatever. It's just musicians, just like real artists that make, because I feel bad for like the younger generations, you know, it's like, why shouldn't they have like absolutely amazing music, you know? It's like there's artists out there making really cool shit, but like the big, you know, top 40, whatever, there's no room for like for that at all, you know? It became like Coca-Cola. It's so, that's just one thought that I had.
Yeah, PY.
For me, I would say is bring back the value in physical album sales, because that's way harder to fake than streams. And there's too much value being put on monthly listeners and blah, blah, blah on the Big Green Monster or the other platforms in booking artists, thinking that more monthly listeners will equal more tickets sold. But I think that if we had more value in selling actual physical records again, bands that make good records would be more in the forefront than now you have to go through a bunch of garbage to like maybe strike gold.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
agreed.
Also, I think that like in terms of like internet numbers or the numbers on the screen that everybody's so obsessed with these days, you know, it's your TikTok followers, your YouTube view count, or your followers on Instagram, whatever it is. It's like just because somebody listens to your song or you get on a playlist in Spotify doesn't mean that those people like your song. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
like just because you're on a playlist doesn't mean that anybody actually, you know, likes that. It's just you're on a playlist, and people pay way too much attention to that number on the screen, you know, and
Yeah.
less about the art, which is
The
kind of
coffee
sad.
shop buying tickets to your show.
Yeah, exactly. If you get like 10 trillion streams because like your song is featured on a coffee houses of America, but nobody, it's just background music. It doesn't really mean that anybody actually likes your song, you know.
Yeah, it's true. I
But that
think it dilutes it a bit for sure.
Back in the day, when people spend money on your record, that meant that they liked what they heard enough on the radio or from a friend, whatever, that they're willing to put their hard-earned cash, you know, and that means that they probably like you, you know, and they'll probably come see the show.
You know, I waited in line for albums. Back
Same
then,
here.
like,
Me
you know,
too.
like,
wow.
Yeah.
you know,
That's it, man.
The excitement
there's-
of waiting for them to drop, and then you run to the record store to buy them, and it was like that was it. But because it's so expensive these days for indie artists and artists out there to produce albums, and that's another problem that we have to deal with. Because
Totally.
I mean, I would love to go out and buy physical albums of everybody's stuff, but some people can't afford to produce that.
yeah. And then now they're in their $40 for a record too. Which,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's crazy.
I still buy them, of course, but it's
Not as many.
It's like you know, I agree. I miss that feeling of. I remember I grew up with cassettes, which turned into CDs, but like you could get a cassette, and it was like you get to fold the plastic off of it, and you get to pull out that piece of paper that goes about 14 feet long, and you can, you know, you go through the music, and then you go through the art and the actual lyrics and why they wrote that song. You know, it was very interesting. It was almost like a book. It was like poetry, like you were mentioning earlier, right? So it's, which is what music lyrics I think is most of the time. If it's heartfelt or whatever, it comes from a poetry background. So
I mean, it's about connection, right? And,
yeah,
and that was just that was just part of it. But when you say the records now are $40. I agree with you. It's really expensive. But the other day, I took my son to have a burger at like a diner, like just down the street in Montreal here, and just a regular cheeseburger diner is $12 now, for like a burger, So it's
Yeah.
like $40 doesn't sound like so much for a record all of a sudden.
It's
You
true.
know what I mean?
It's true. For
Everything's super
life
expensive.
too. You keep it for life. You keep the album for life, or pass it on even, right?
Yeah,
So
Exactly.
that's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah,
mhm.
it's money well spent. Spend it on your artists,
Yeah.
not on Z-Burger.
No more burgers. Just save it for another LP.
Who are your musical influences? I mean, I know that there's a few that that obviously we can talk about, but who would you say is a big musical influence for you guys?
Feel what you think of that?
Well, as Leela said earlier, we're very influenced by classic rock, folk, and myself, country and country rock. But big influence for us, for me personally, I would say we do kind of like the Zeppelin thing, but I like to listen to James Jamerson as a bass player, so it adds more of that R&B Motown kind of
Yeah.
flavor that it was happening, parallel to that time. So a nice little infusion of that, but rock and roll, really. Rock and roll, Jet, Oasis, Beatles.
Yeah, those are all decent.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll bring the feminine power into it. I've always been drawn to incredible female voices and females that were, had something to say and were not bashful of saying it and wore what they wanted and and fucked who they wanted and made a point of it. No, it's really. I think it's really important.
No,
It changed.
yeah,
It changed
absolutely
the world.
did.
So people like, of course, Joni Mitchell. I absolutely adore almost every album she's ever made. I'll say the almost just because when she got a little too jazzy there, and I'm not a huge fan, but her early days, her first 5, 6, 7 albums are absolutely incredible. The stuff that she could do just herself performing, when I watch like performances live, Isle of Wight or anything, it's just mesmerizing to be able to see that, to feel that. Of course, the incredible Janis Joplin and what she, stood for, and the way she performed and the way she let loose on stage is a huge like motivator for me. For me, when I'm on stage, there's no holding back. I don't care if my voice will squeak or break or be a little off key. If I had, in terms of course, afterwards, I'm annoyed if I'm off key. I try not to be off key, but if it does happen in the passion of the moment, it's like I let myself get to that place because I felt it, because I've connected with like the music that we are creating with the 4 of us on stage, with my instrument, with my voice, and with the crowd. And it's like, it's always different. It's every night is different. And so every night there, I never know what to expect. Like my voice will take me places that I'm not necessarily, I'm not necessarily aware what is happening. It's a very, very, I don't know, it's a special place for me, the stage. It's really, really incredible. That's where I love most of all. So sorry, back to inspirations. It would be like powerful female voices like that. Grace Slick is
Grace Slick, yeah.
I mean,
The ladies from Heart.
Billie Holiday.
Ooh, Billie
Nice,
Holiday.
nice choice.
Oh yeah,
That's a great choice.
I adore her.
That's That's
I
something
think
that.
Leah touched on something really important when it comes to music, where we were fortunate enough to like play a bunch of like the bigger festivals, also here in Canada and in Europe, whatever. And sometimes I'm not going to name any names, but like these days you see a lot of like pop stars or whatever, where it's like even their voice is on like
Auto tunes.
no, not
Mm.
on just on tape basically. It's like
there's like not even not really
it's
singing.
more about the dancing and stuff on stage than like the music, but basically it's very predictable. You're gonna hear what you hear on Spotify or on the album. You're gonna hear that on stage, and I think the more we move forward, I think younger people too are gonna want to see a unique experience. It's like it's gonna be. I believe that the future is actually all about like the moment and experiencing something that's like other people can't, and just rock and roll does that if you do it right. Like if you play instruments and solos change and Lita does different things with her voice, or not just us, but like in general, bands that play, you're gonna play a little bit differently depending on your mood, depending on where you're at, depending on the audience. It's gonna change, and we definitely leave room for jamming in our set because that's the moment, and it's only happening once. And if you're there, you saw it, and if you're not, well, tough luck, maybe next time.
Yep.
And I think people are going to see the value in that more and more, because it's like everything is so perfect right now. So it's like you listen to Spotify, it's perfect. You go see the show, it's perfect. Everything's in tune, everything's in time, everything's on the grid. People are going to be more interested in like right here, right now. That moment was unique, and it's not going to happen again.
Yeah, I love that. It's it's totally the way that I remember going to concerts. And Dog and I will go to a concert now, and we'll take a 5-second video for ourselves, but after that we experience the moment. We don't like record the whole thing. I can't stand that. I just think people should enjoy more of the moments and put their phone away. In all aspects, not just music, but in many things, nature, all those things. Being naked at a hippie festival, stuff like that.
Being here and now.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Exactly. Do you guys have any pre-show rituals?
There's a few. We definitely hug. There's a very important moment where we just grab everybody. Usually, like, I end up with a guitar neck, like, in my ear. Like, it really hurts. Like, that hug is not an emotional one because we always get hurt. We've already got our guitars on us, but it's still a moment that we come close. We make sure before we go to separate sides of the stage that we take that moment. We pass the energy along.
I don't want to sound I don't know what the word for it is, but all these cliches that you hear in
Of what?
Of the rock and roll lifestyle in books and in movies or whatever, they're all true. It's all true, because put yourself in our shoes a second. Like, you just fucking flew for 18 hours across the world, and you end up in Belgium somewhere, and it's a giant festival, and it's like you're gonna play to these people for the first time. None of them have ever heard of you. You're fucking nervous, you know what I mean? And you need something to ease that nerve. And then you do a couple shots, and it's like fucking first thing in the morning, though, because we play. In that particular festival, we play
at 2 in the afternoon. Whatever,
and then you do a couple of shots after the show or during the set, and then you're like 2 weeks into the tour, and fuck, I haven't been sober now for a little bit. It's like, and it's not because like you're like, oh fuck, I just want to. No, it's just because the moment calls for it, and you do it, and it happens, and it's true,
Well, plus that must be Sorry, go ahead, PY.
That's pretty much what I was gonna say. My pre-show ritual is actually a formula, and it's like where you cut yourself off before the show, and it's 3 beers, 2 whiskeys. That's like meta, and less is like you might have some jitters or something, but
yeah. Dave Grohl has 6 Advil and 3 Coors Lights. That's his before he goes out. Yeah, that's what he said. He said
even
that
Dave Grohl at that level, like you still need something,
Well, I think you made a really great point in enjoying the moment because you're in Belgium and you're like doing what you love to do, and you might as well just relax and enjoy it, and having a beverage and whatever else to get you kind of through the next moment. And then once you're on there, you're just going to be on. That's who you are, right? So it's very interesting to hear some of these rituals, but it's funny that you did mention that it is very much true. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll is definitely a thing that's out there still. So
the more we do it, and the more we get to like open or play festivals with like bigger artists, the more I notice that it's really is all true. The girls and the drugs and the sex and the alcohol and the lifestyle. It's the cliche comes from somewhere. It's true.
One of the only. It's really.
That's it. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about who you guys have done some touring with. We got some pretty big names here that we're kind of like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like ZZ Top.
Well, that's exactly when Tom was saying, who we learned from, that it was on like night 2 or 3 of an East Coast tour with ZZ Top, and suddenly, the fucking Reverend himself is walking into our room with like a onesie and his fuzzy hat that he wears, and he's all right, guys, I'm going to show you how to drink. And takes out the Jack Daniels. And like someone said, oh, do you want to mix something? I was like, you kidding me? Never. You know, it's Jack Daniels on the rocks. And ever since, that's what we drink, you know.
Yeah.
if Billy said so, you know, that's what's happening. And it's been on the roster ever since. My God, that was amazing. It was like one of Dusty's last tours, and it was absolutely marvelous. Like, he was such a sweet, sweet man. And we're very, 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 very lucky to be able to, you know, say that we were on tour with the original three. Man, wow,
That's pretty cool. What
Yeah.
about when you were with Styx? It wasn't with Tommy? Sorry, not Tommy Shaw, but Dennis DeYoung. It was with Gowan,
Yeah,
correct?
Gowan,
yeah,
Gowan.
A fellow Canadian.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also
Fellow
a really
Montreal.
nice
He's from
guy.
Montreal.
He's from
too.
Montreal as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice guy.
He
man.
watched our
Man,
show.
I think Styx were the nicest rock stars I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Honestly, they were such nice guys.
They like really
Yep.
took the time, like, because they have like insane guitars, and it's all like backstage. I don't know, there were like 30 guitars back there. We were just like looking around, gawking, and like he took the time to like, you know, show us around and like talk about things, and it was really, really nice. You know, it was really nice. And I don't know who else stuck. I mean, Rival Sons have become really, really good friends. They're phenomenal. I mean, for me, like watching their shows is kind of like going to church. They're amazing, amazing live. Jay's voice is incredible, and I mean, they're just so fantastic, and they're really, really cool people too. I really, really like them. We got to hang out with them at the last at our last festival in, when was it? Holland? Where were we? Yeah, it was in Holland this past summer, and we had a really great time.
And then you got the sheepdogs you guys can share clothes with.
Yeah, for sure. Also a cool bunch of dudes. It's funny though. We never get to see them because like there was that one tour here, and when we toured together. But other than that, like we keep doing tours following each other in England, and so we don't end up actually. You know, we're always like, hey, where are you? Oh, I was there yesterday. Oh no, we're there tomorrow. We haven't been able to catch up. Oh,
Always a
sorry,
day
there's a
apart.
low battery. Sorry guys, I don't want to lose you. We're just gonna
Yeah, no
keep
worries.
charging the
No
phone.
worries.
That's pretty cool too, though.
What's the most difficult thing about being a musician?
Fuck your own mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that, actually. I would agree with that.
Fitting the norm,
What?
not fitting the norm. You know, it's like when you want to get together with all your friends, but you work at night on weekends, and they work in the week, and then you're free all week, and they're busy all. Anybody, kind of a glass half full, glass half empty. You can look at it both ways.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard, man. Like there's a lot of I mean it's I wouldn't give it up for the world. And also like whenever people ask me, like there was never a plan B, you know, like I've always, since I can remember myself, knew that this is what I wanted to do. And as I grew older, this is still what I want to do. And so I've never, you know, there was never a plan B. I was never going to do anything else. So this is what it is. So I'll take the hardships. But I mean, there's, like you fuck yourself up all the time. Like just thinking about why things aren't working or why this or how long this is taking, or, you know, you're frustrated with, you know, a million things and society's norms and whatever it may be. And it's like at the end of the day, all I really want to be doing is
I think it's true. You just have a
playing
lot
music.
of time to think, you know? Like, I mean, we only play an hour a day, you know, when we're on tour, on set, you know, in a festival, for example.
Right.
That's 3 hours of travel, of like being in the hotel. It's
being
like,
in your own mind.
yeah, it's like, it's a lot of time to be with yourself, you know, or with friends, but like in your own head, it's like, it fucks you up, man.
Totally.
Hear that?
Yeah. Do you think that could be a reason that some musicians do go a little bit crazy? Yeah. Like, do you think that that's part of it? Yeah.
100%.
Totally, man. Totally. Especially like, sorry, PY, I can't hear you. Sorry. What were you saying?
I said for sure, because what's the only thing sitting beside you is that cold bottle of Jack.
That too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I would think
just-
so. You still have to have some control because you're still professionals and such, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, that was an interesting question because I was always wondering, like, maybe that's why people get in their own head. Because you're right, 23 hours by yourself, like the you know, once you get to the level that you're at, and then even further, you're going to be wanting your own time because they'll, you know, sometimes you'll be like annoyed when you're having lunch and somebody's coming up to you and stuff like that. But, you know, being like secluse, you know, like trying to recluse, sorry,
Recluse,
yeah,
secluded.
yeah, recluse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So you guys, when you're touring, like say your Canada tour here, do you guys have any control over who plays with you? Like say you're coming to Ottawa on Saturday, right? You're here Saturday the 31st. Did you guys have any input into who was playing with you that day?
Did we?
I don't know about that
Promoter
particular show.
that band particular show. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes promoters are like, we really want to have this band, and like we're like, yeah, of course. Like, what's the big deal? Of course, awesome. But sometimes we go to places where we know there's a play with, and we could ask, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
I would say most of the time, though, it's out of our control.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always curious about that too.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because you'd want to have some, like some kind of not conformity, but like sort of a similar style or maybe something different that is in that.
Right,
I don't know,
but-
giving somebody that chance, I guess.
Most promoters, though, you know, they get if they promote a Damn Truth show, I think they get what we do, and they try to hook us up with a you know, somebody local, usually that's could benefit from this show and probably fits the bill. You know,
Yeah.
I hate it personally when it's like people treat female-fronted bands as a genre. I think that's
Yeah.
really stupid. It's
Yeah.
like not every female-fronted band is like a rock and roll band or fits with us. You know, it's like it's so weird.
Yeah, there's
I
been
find-
many a female-fronted band night, and it did not work
Yeah,
at all.
that's-
Like it's just stylistically, like you guys aren't thinking. You're thinking, what is this? What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does it matter if there's a woman or not in the band? It's like what's
a lot
the
of people.
style?
A lot of people treat that as a genre.
Yeah.
It really isn't. You know,
Yeah.
just because of somebody's sex,
It's never-
they're going to sound similar. You know, it's like, I don't know. It's weird.
Not at all. Yeah.
Well, we do have a little insight into one of the bands that's playing with you guys because we know them. So
Oh,
the Space
awesome.
Between, you're going to love them. They're an amazing, talented band. I think they're going to fit in just perfectly with your guys' sound. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
It is a female led band, but they're rocking. I think
Yeah.
you're gonna love them all as people too. They're young, but they're very, very talented. Very good.
Fantastic. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were cut off. What was the name of the band?
the Space Between.
The Space Between. Okay.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
great. You know,
They're pretty cool, actually. You're not the first people to tell me about them, that we're going to love them and that they've got great vibes.
Mhm.
And earlier you asked what the hardest part about touring was. I just want to say what a positive about touring is that we get to meet all these incredible people who are also living kind of the life that we want to live. And everybody gets to like share their experience in one wild night of rock and roll and do that over and over again. It's really good for the soul, you know?
for
Yep.
sure. I mean, they're doing the same thing as you. They're committed to just doing this, and that's you know, and they're young, like, you know, living very moderately to say the least, and living living their dream basically. You
Yep.
know,
Awesome.
How you do it?
Yeah, that's the way it should be,
I
right?
think
Rock
so.
and roll.
Yeah, you're committed or you're not, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
no plan B is the best way to put it. Actually, Lee Love did that, and that was a good way to do it.
Now, I have a question about your song, Pirates and Politicians.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
I was listening to it, and I asked Gus about it too, I said the intro is very familiar. Well, it's got that kind of sound like, to me, it sounds like Rock and Roll by Gary Glitter. That whole, like the little drums intro in the beginning. Am I
Right
wrong?
on. I'll
Or
have to take another listen to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's two drummers on that
Yeah,
intro.
that song has two drummers the whole song through.
Mhm.
A
Yeah.
friend of ours played drums on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was
Um,
listening to it and I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, no. So I had to listen to the Gary, and I played it for Gus too, and it was like, it's not bang on, but it's just kind of
No.
it reminds me of.
No, I mean, it's
Interesting.
not like certainly not a
Take a look.
ripoff. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We didn't-
No, it's awesome, but I was just kind of like, hey,
Bob Rock would have called you out on it for sure.
yes, he would have. Hey,
Yeah, that was before Bob.
Yeah, yeah,
I
fair
don't know.
enough.
I
Fair
can't
enough.
say that I know that song.
Yeah, I'll have to take a listen. Now I'm intrigued.
Gary Glitter was a big in the '60s. He was like glam rock.
Yeah. I've definitely heard the name, but I
Yeah,
don't know this.
that's
I
pretty
don't know.
much his biggest hit.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll definitely take a listen.
What's it called?
Rock and Roll Part 1.
Thank
All right. Awesome. I'll take a listen.
There's no part two.
Yeah.
Is there a part two?
Yes, there is.
Oh shit. Okay. Uh,
But it's just the intro to the song, though. It's just kind of. I felt it was a lot anyway. It was a vibe.
how does where you live, affect your career? Is it in any way?
Yeah, for sure. In a lot of ways. I think what happened here like 10 years ago in Montreal, where it became like the indie capital of the world. Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
Arcade Fire
Oh,
Days.
yeah.
Arcade Fire Days and all that crap, and it's like we were definitely did not
Half Moon
fit
Run.
the bill. And back then we were just like young kids in our 20s, you know. It's like really in the beginning, and we needed a chance, you know. We needed a promoter to take a chance on us, to put us on a bill with sound band, to give us. We couldn't get a gig, man. It was like so sad, really, you know. So like, you know, Leon and I decided one day that Montreal needs like a rock band, you know. It's like, I mean,
It's like a city of rock. Like Shom FM here has been the epitome of rock in
Mhm.
Canada forever. They're amazing rock fans. There's amazing rock shows that pass through
we just
all the
wanted
time.
to
There
have
was
a
not enough
band.
rock,
We
you
just
know?
wanted to have a band in the city that we would be able to go see and love, you know.
Yeah.
And there was none. Like at the time, it was like everybody was talking about, oh, Montreal's so great and the music is so awesome, and we like, but there's nothing here for us. We hate it, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
so we started the band that we wanted to be, you know, to listen to, and it turns out a lot of other people wanted to listen to it too, you know. We weren't alone. So the place that we were at definitely influenced that decision, and it also has to do with the name of the band, you know, because we wanted to like start a band that was true to what we wanted to do, and it wasn't trendy, and it wasn't at all popular, the style of music, you know, and whatever. We wanted to do something for us.
I think it's coming back around now, though. Like it seems to be circular. We talk about this a lot with music being circular. You guys, the Sheepdogs, this is very much like 60s and 70s straight ahead rock, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Especially for us older guys to see, hey, this is, you know, to replace the Arcade Fires and replace this blah blah blah, you know, this pop crap that we listen to, and it's just it's nice to see this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Refreshing, actually.
Yeah, it's very refreshing, and we've got a few bands here in Ottawa that are kind of like on that trajectory as well. So it's kind of fun.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man.
It's diverse, and it's funny that you said that, because you created the band you wanted to listen to, right? It's like you wanted something, and then you instead of waiting for it, you went and did it, which is amazing. So it's awesome.
Yeah, but it really came from like a dark place. Like it was, those days were like really hard, man, because you would think that you know, I remember being young and thinking, wow, it's so amazing with all these indie bands. You don't need the big record label to like, you know, help you and all that stuff. And I in my mind, it was going to be like a time of like inclusion, and everybody's going to do their thing, and you know, it's going to be amazing. But it really wasn't. Like there were that generation of bands, especially here in Montreal, were the biggest jerks.
They were
It's
so
like,
snooty and so like, you know, that's how I felt. Like though when we did get to like meet or talk, it was like their nose was up to what, rock and roll? Are you kidding? Like that's so old. It's so like you're just, what do you know? There's nothing. You're not bringing anything new to the table or whatever. You know,
so judgy too.
Very judgmental.
Like if you didn't do the exact thing that they were doing, then like if you didn't have a cello in your band and like somebody on a kid's
or a
cassette
French
keyboard,
horn,
then you were just like, you weren't
boring. You were boring.
Yeah,
There's nothing interesting about you.
Hated it. Those days they still give me chills.
Well, if you ever need a cello player, we have an amazing one here in Ottawa.
Nothing against
I love the cello.
No, he plays in a heavy metal band.
He plays with heavy metal bands, so he's quite awesome. Yeah,
Raph,
Very cool.
he's with a band that's out of, where are they from? Norway.
Norway. Yeah,
Yeah, he's like
Right
Norwegian, and then when they tour, they call him, and he goes to meet them. Like it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So you're going to UK soon. Is that exciting for you guys?
Always. In the UK, we have a real love affair with that island, man. I mean, the people. I mean, it's like the birthplace of rock and roll. It really is. Like, I mean, yes, Elvis and yes, whatever, but you know, for me, the Beatles and the Stones and Zepp and Sabbath and like, there's so much culture in the '90s, and like, it's just. out of this world, and they love their rock, and they appreciate, and they go out to shows, and they buy the merch, and so it's like really, it's alive and kicking, and it's really really fun to tour out there, and the towns are so close by, so it's easier. It's like Canada is so big and huge, and it takes 3 days to get through Ontario, and
Yeah.
it's hard. It's frustrating to tour through Canada, and compared to Europe or UK, where it's just an hour or two, boom, you're in a whole other town, a whole
Yeah.
other fan base. That's like it's out of this world.
It's pretty cool too. Like when you in the UK, and if you listen to the radio or just look at like the top 10 best-selling records there, whatever at the time. Like when the last time we were there, I think it was Sam Fender. There was like the top-selling artist in the UK, and Adele before that, and it's just here. If you look at it in Canada and the States, it's like it's all the TikTok hits, of super processed, like almost AI-based pop music, and in the UK, they're
It's
still
still
and
yeah,
bands and
people who play instruments.
and
Yeah.
it still kind of sounds like human. I don't know.
People that have talent.
Oh,
Exactly, yeah. So
I
I
said
mean, it's
it.
still
Shots
poppy.
fired.
Don't get me wrong. It's not like, oh my God, it's like Led Zeppelin again. No, but it's people who write songs and perform them, and people love that. They connect with it.
Yep.
Mhm.
True.
Agreed.
Different world.
True. And I think you make a good point too, because you can be in like the UK, Ireland, Scotland very quickly, and then go right over and go to Belgium, like you
Well,
said, Germany,
France, Germany,
Totally.
Spain. Like
Oh,
it's so
oh, yeah.
it's so close over there.
a couple hours. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Couple
It's
hours,
amazing.
you're in Ottawa.
Yeah, yeah. You leave Montreal, 2 hours to get to Ottawa.
Yeah, crushing it. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite venue that you love to go to when you're in the UK? Is there because you've been there a couple times? I'm taking it.
The O2 Dome.
Well,
Just-
Birmingham Town Hall,
City Hall.
City Hall, or Town Hall, it was called.
Yeah.
Like that's
Town-
like where
yeah.
Zepp had their first show,
Ooh.
and for us, like playing that room was, I had like electricity through my fingers throughout that whole night. It was like a dream come true. So that place in
also the
particular,
Apex
outdoor festival.
POS trans.
Sorry, PY.
There's also the Apex in Bury St. Edmunds, which is an amazing room. And can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an amazing
And
room,
now
and right
not.
beside that
Yeah, there we go.
room, right beside that room is the smallest pub in all of England. It's called the Nutshell, and we love to go there before our show, after our show, warm up pints, cool down pints. They got them all, but only 3-4 people fit in that place. It's amazing, and the room looks like a chateau. Beautiful.
It's someone's basement.
Yeah.
No,
That's
it's
right.
No, it's
so-
it's a storefront pub. There's like 4 stools and room. Yeah, maybe room for 8 if you really squeeze. It's amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
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 Very cool.
That's too funny. Now, tell us a little bit about this hot sauce you guys got going on. Is that
Oh.
was that your guys' original thing, or was it? Apparently, it's funny.
PY is that.
PY's your man. Yeah.
PY,
Talk about the hot sauce.
give us the hot sauce spiel.
Yeah, well, Dave and I are huge hot sauce fans. We bring some on tour with us all the time, and every time we travel, we try everything we can from wherever we are. We like to dabble in all the different types, and well, we had the opportunity to make our own with an amazing sauce guy from here in Montreal, and Papa Cochon is the name, and we went with a sauce inspired by a smoky chili pepper from Mexico. And it's hot, but it's not too hot. Everybody can try it. It goes on everything.
Gus will.
I will for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a hot sauce dude. So dog is not.
Well,
I'm not so
if
much,
you're hot
but,
sauce
He's like, what is this? Tomato?
So it's a 5 for
I'm
you.
not adventurous as Gus is, but tell us what it's called.
It's called Truth Serum.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's it.
Makes sense.
Because we had a
'Cause
guy.
it's the damn truth, baby.
Yeah, the damn truth serum. We have a friend, Gus and I have a mutual friend who did his own hot sauce as well. That's why we kind of thought it was funny. We'd like to ask you about that. So
Yeah, we love hearing
Awesome.
that stuff. Love the sauce.
We'll have some
and-
bottles when we come to
Yeah.
Ottawa.
Yeah.
You guys have. You
got
guys
to try
certainly
it.
have the sauce. You got the sauce. Yeah, bring some to Ottawa. That'd be great.
course.
Do listeners take away things from your songs different than you intended? Like, do you ever find that come up sometime?
Totally. It has a lot of times people come to me, like, it's interesting, like right after a show we always come out, to have a beer and like stand around the merch area and sign if anyone wants anything signed or whatever. That's a ritual. We always come out after the show. And like sometimes, I remember this one time where it just happened now. It was like a fan who'd been waiting for like 7 or 8 years to see us. She's from where was she
Poland.
from Poland, and she drove all the way with her family
Germany.
to Germany. Yes, that's right. I was going to say Romania, but no, they drove to Germany to see our show there. And like she told me, she was talking about like the words in Look Innocent, and like she really like in her head like had this whole story of what it meant to her, and it was so so beautiful, that it touched her this way. And of course it was not necessarily what I meant or what I had, what we wrote about but it was like so nice to hear that this song has like affected her. We have people that have tattooed lyrics of our songs onto them as reminders of either hard times in their lives or the opposite, like the hope for the future. And it's very, very powerful. I mean, I think that music does that. It unites us and it opens our minds to all sorts of like different things that we might not have been exposed to otherwise. And
I think that it always happens, because I mean, you write a song, and obviously to tap into that place to write something that's meaningful, you gotta. I feel like I have to go to a really personal place, a personal experience, or something, And I'll never talk about it. It's not none of anybody's business, really. So it's like what's important is what came out of it, and people take whatever they want out of it. It's like I'm not here to like just, hey, look at me, this is my life, my story, listen to what I have to say. No, it's not about that. It's like this song came out from, yes, a certain experience that I had in my life, but I'm not here to share. It's like, yeah,
let's share together the experience.
You take away from it whatever you want to take away from it. It's definitely not going to be what I intended, for sure.
Everybody's
Never,
I think it's always like it's always you write it for yourself, but then someone takes it, and it's a great experience for everybody, the listener and the creator. I think.
Absolutely. And Noel Gallagher also. I feel like people always ask him about that. Like a lot of interviews. I'm a big Oasis fan, and they always ask, "Oh, what do you mean by this lyric and this lyric?" And it's like, no, man, I'm not gonna tell you. It's like you take whatever you want from it. I didn't write it for you to feel a certain way, about me. It's like it's not about me. And he's right. It's like it really isn't about the songwriter. It's about the shared experience of the song.
Yeah, they might say it with a little bit more profanity, but
Yeah.
No.
That's why we love him.
I love them too.
Yeah.
They're going on tour apparently.
Noel is Noel, that's for sure.
Well, we will know tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Big drop date of something. We'll
Is
find
that
out.
right? Mm.
Hopefully Liam and Noel can just.
We don't know what they're going to announce, but they're going to announce something tomorrow. I'm waiting.
It's one show because that's about the only time that they could spend together without killing each other.
Probably.
They'll have separate rooms.
Yeah, separate stages.
One more Nebworth or something like
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
That's right.
One more big show.
So we ask a question to all our guests. It's usually towards the end, and we like to hear it. So we know 60s and 70s are like, we all put them way up there. But there's two decades that we like to talk about, which is the 80s and the 90s. So which one would you say is your preferred decade of music?
90s, big time.
I really like the 90s too, but I think I'm also a metal fan, and I think metal was better in the 80s. Not
Agreed.
the glam rock metal, but in general, Metallica, those records, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, like it was amazing, It was amazing for metal, and a lot of people don't necessarily like make that connection between amazing thrash, hardcore metal in the 80s because everybody thinks about the big hair and all that stuff. But it was a really great decade for metal.
And pop, actually.
Yeah.
And pop too, yeah.
And new wave and whatever else you want to call it.
New wave, yeah.
PY?
I would say Tom makes a great point. It's hard to choose now. I was like 90s for sure, but then I'm like Blizzard of Oz and all these amazing records that I freaking love that came out. So I played hockey, right? So I listened to a lot of metal as pump up music. So I think I would have to go 80s.
There we go.
Wow. So Leela and I are the only ones that are not.
No.
I
Definitely.
think Dave would say 90s. Too,
I say 90s too. I'm just saying that
I have
sometimes
a
the
toe
80s
in
are
the
overrated.
I have a toe.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely
Heartbroken.
the 90s. I
There
mean,
we go.
always
You broke Dog's heart there. You
Yeah.
broke his heart.
It's okay. I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
Leela, 90s like band. What's the go-to?
Oh man, oh my God.
Is it grunge, the
Oh,
grunge era, or was it different than that?
yeah, it would be for definitely grunge era. I mean, but I guess for me it's always like I've always been a bit more of a songwriter person. Like I listen to like Tracy Chapman and Fiona Apple and like
Oh, yeah.
Sheryl Crow's albums and Jeff Buckley. Oh my God, yeah, like there's a lot of like singers that have like that amazing personas that drew me in, and incredible records. Like Sheryl Crow has some records that I can till this day are like one of my favorite Driver records, or Tom Petty albums. Oh my God, don't get me started on Tom Petty. So
Oh, yeah.
So what about Tom Petty?
oh my God, oh my God, I can't hear you, honey. You're so
choppy.
chopped.
And he's frozen now.
Oh no.
Oh,
He's
no. There he is.
What'd
back.
you say?
It's a trip over there at PY's house.
Yeah.
Are you
Oh, wow.
talking to me?
We
I
don't
didn't
know.
say anything.
I'm sorry, PY. We don't hear you.
Yeah. It's okay. Well, hopefully he'll come back. Yeah, Tom Petty. Yeah. What about him?
Love him. Got to see him for I kind of lucked into tickets for the Blues Fest in Ottawa when he played. And I got to go see him, and then he passed away, a few months
I
later.
know, and I missed that show, and I was pissed
Yeah.
about it because
I wasn't gonna
I grew
go,
up
and then
on
I-
Tom Petty.
Yeah.
Like my brother played it in his Toyota Supra. Can't forget it. And then I was obviously a '90s guy because I like. It's funny. I like metal, but I also like hip hop, and I'm like kind of like that. '90s was the best era for that. Also, the grunge era, of course, was key for me. And like you said, songwriting, I think in the 90s had made a huge comeback too, with the Pearl Jams and the Soundgardens and the Nirvana and the Alice in Chains is like one of my favorite bands. So, yeah, but I'd have a soft spot for the 80s too, because I love the Smiths and I love the new era stuff, like the new wave stuff too. So I don't know. I have a pretty big appetite for music, but I definitely think the 70s and the 60s was where I go to.
Well, that's why we didn't put him in there, because it was just
everybody agrees,
Yeah.
So it's like we can't have that one. Like, it's like
So-
it's
Right.
got to be different.
Speaking of which, let's talk about your new single dropping.
Yeah. Good
Tell us a little bit
mystery.
about it.
Oh man. Well, it's like it's hard, right? Choosing singles is one of the hardest part of the album, because you're like, this is your baby, your album, you love every single song. I have no fucking clue what people are going to like, what the radio is going to play. Like I let go completely of the song choice, but the only reason I think I put my finger forward for this song because it's our shortest one on the album. It's a short song. It would be like super. It's rocking. It's catchy. It's fun. It's not a heavy song. It's just like it's not like one. We have a lot of songs that are very emotional and very. You have this like a process to listen to, and you have to be in a certain mood sometimes to listen to some of our songs. But this is just, you can put it on blast on your radio or in your freaking car any day, and it'll put a smile on your face. That's how I feel when I listen to it.
Yeah, there's one thing about that riff. I can't remember when it was, but one of the European tours at some point, maybe last year or 2 years ago, I don't know. And we got back home, and there was a box waiting for me at home. It was a brand new guitar from this company called Bunting Guitars. They built me a signature type model, and the first time I picked it up, what came out was that riff. So to me, it means a lot. And
Cool.
And that's the song was written around that riff, and Bob had some crazy suggestions in the chorus, and it came along really quickly, and it was
painlessly,
and it's really fun to play.
Yeah.
That's great.
Very good. Can't
Love
wait
it.
to hear it.
Yeah, we're stoked about it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So Saturday you're here in Ottawa, and
the
then
Brass Monkey.
at the Brass Monkey, and then you're touring around a bit, and then you'll go to UK later, and that's all exciting stuff. I mean, you guys are
Totally. And the US later
Yeah,
in
the
the year
US
as well.
next
oh nice.
next year
In the
we're
new
doing
year, yeah.
Rock Legends Cruise, which is amazing.
Oh,
That's
cool.
That's
with
amazing.
Alice Cooper and Sticks again, and
Nice.
Blackberry
Smoke.
and
Oh, Blackberry
Supposed to be the-
Smoke. They're amazing.
yeah,
Love them.
totally. It's supposed to be the
That's great.
zombies. I don't think they'll be on now, unfortunately. But that was my like, oh my god, am I going to get to hear time of the season live?
right.
I thought
Real.
that was,
Oh,
my god,
how cool would that be?
Yeah,
that
you
would
should-
be so cool. But I think they
you
just
can
like
you can reenact the meeting and be naked, and like it'll be
Yes.
like the whole thing all over again.
Get kicked off the boat.
Yeah, get out of here.
that
Sorry.
happened already, so we don't want that to happen.
Oh,
again.
okay. So
Okay.
This is our
Touche,
second chance
touche.
on the boat.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that story next time.
Next time.
that's true.
Well, listen, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you very much, and we love your stuff, and we're very excited
thank
to
you
have
so
you.
much.
So, yeah,
Thank you very much, guys. Great to talk to you. Great to meet you, and we hope to meet you in person. Come out in Ottawa.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
going to try my best to get to that show for sure.
Yeah, man. Just stick with
Awesome.
us just for a couple minutes there, and
Yeah, we want to make sure.
Doug and Gus, Doug and Gus, Doug and Gus.